So Zach, now that I've done my vocal warm-ups and my throat is nice and limber, I have some news for you, Zach.
You've got news?
Oh, I got the news. Nothing you can find on Fox or CNN, but it's a little news of my life. So
Okay.
I'm feeling a little nostalgia right now, or at least like a little deja vu, because not too long ago we talked to Seth about, life changing, and he was going off into the military, and we got to keep the group together and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. So my life changed. Yeah, we talked about this very briefly yesterday, Zach, but I have not given the final news. I have applied for a new place to live, and I have been approved as of 2 hours ago.
Oh, congratulations.
Heck yeah. So I'm stoked about it. I'm ready to spread my wings and leave the nest here, see what else is out there, right? I am moving into a nearby city that we have been in before. So it'll be a little different. It's not in this town, but it's only 15 minutes away. So nice and easy. It's easy.
Convenient enough to haul my shit over to and play D&D.
Exactly. So it'll still be easy enough to play D&D and whatnot. And that's where it gets actually pretty hype, because we are renting a home. So it is not an apartment complex. So I have a little more space, right? We got a couple extra rooms and all that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking maybe, I don't know where we want to go with this with our D&D group, but there is enough space for a D&D room if we wanted to play there, if I could go back to hosting again, which was fun. But if not, I mean, hey, it's a nice little space. We could all hang out, have a little bit of a yard, back deck. We could sit out and, just chill, be the boys.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And for the past few weeks here, since Seth left, realistically, we've been playing over Roll20, which really, Drew, you've just set the bar so high with how well you use Roll20 that I've kind of gotten excited about playing in Roll20 a little bit. But as I look at my wall of minis, I just my heart aches for all the money I wasted.
No.
So we have to. What I'm saying is we have to play in person still, even though I have to say your Roll20 game. I mean, I know there's a lot of there's like animations and shit that you can do in Roll20 that we haven't scratched the surface of, but Drew paid for a map editor to build his own maps and stuff, and I think it really has made the difference in just getting me excited about playing in Roll20.
Well, Roll20 kind of blows my mind because it's kind of the go-to if you have to play online sort of a thing, and it's a little difficult to use at first, especially if you use it the wrong way. But I feel like if you just talk to somebody about it or watch a couple videos, there's a lot of really cool features in it. I like it a lot. I don't know how it's going to compare to whatever one D&D comes out with, but it's pretty handy. It's the map making is poopy, absolute poopy. Don't make maps in Roll20, please don't.
Yeah. The first time that I used Roll20, I used the little pencil tool, and it was all black and white, and I just drew my maps. And it served its purpose, but boy, it looked bad.
But you know what? If that's what you're going to use Roll20 for as far as map making goes, do that. Like if you're just going to really quick, scribble something down that you and the boys can sit and enjoy, just a quick little game, a one-off, something like that, that's perfectly cool. Maybe you're a little more of a theater of the mind anyway. It's something you're not used to. It's just a bonus, right? I remember the first time we got a green battle map, and I was like, there's grass! There's terrain! We could use that. We could get a little more into it,
Yeah.
But there's really just so many things you could do with it beyond the map making. We recently, in the last week or 2 weeks ago, I can't even remember now, I had put up the turn order. The turn order was sick.
Yeah, I didn't know that they had that. There's a nice little initiative tracker. Mm-hmm, you can set it however you want it to display. I mean, highest to lowest makes the most sense. I don't know why you'd want it set up any other way, but you can do it lowest to highest or alphabetical. So
yeah, it was pretty cool. I think going back, if I were to do it again, because it's been so long since I've used Roll20, I would probably set it up beforehand with all the names on it and leave it on screen. I kind of want to blow your minds a little bit, oh yeah, I have the turn counter for everybody. Oh my gosh, Drew did. He pulled out the turn counter.
Well, that was really funny. We were just sitting there, and then you pulled it up, and everyone lost their shit because we'd never seen it used before.
It's pretty cool. That, and I like using the aura mechanics. There's not a lot of characters that have the auras, paladins specifically. But when you have a little aura going on, if you have some sort of magic item that does that, it's really handy to just have the aura in front of you on the battle map. Because if you're just playing on a real battle map in person on a table, you have to kind of feel out where's that fireball gonna hit, right? Where is my my aura of courage or whatever it may be that the paladins have at the time? Where is that set up? But on Roll20, it's just there all the time. It doesn't matter where you move your character. You don't have to redraw it. You don't have to erase. It's just there all the time.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. This last session that I did, I ran you guys through one of the adventures from Keys from the Golden Vault, which, may I say, I'm quite thrilled with that book. I don't know if we'll do a formal review of it, but I have been. Yeah, I've looked through all of the adventures in there, so no one else can run it. So,
no one can do it.
Yeah, so I'll probably run you through some more stuff. Because it's actually fairly high quality. I'll say that the win condition of the particular adventure I decided to run you guys through was a little specific, and we had some issues with it. But overall, just very, very good in flavor. Anyway, I thought it was really cool because Patrick was playing a Twilight Cleric, and he had his 30 feet of dim light that extends in all directions. And boy, is it just a pain to try and count that out manually when you don't have the auras. So it was nice. I didn't think twice about it. I just added it and forgot about it.
Oh, and the what was that spell that was cast? The poison cloud.
Cloud kill.
Cloud kill. That was really handy because especially since you mentioned that it moves, right? So I was like, it's moving every turn. How are we going to keep? But seeing it move with the character, or I think it was, what is it, bonus action or something like that, he can move it along, and it was drifting through the cells. Like, that was really sick. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yeah, and, Cloud Kill is a spell that I just dread having cast in, physical play because we don't have a great way to denote that without, drawing it on the map and then erasing it and then moving it 10 feet. And, yeah, so...
And that's how you end up staining your maps, to be honest, if you're playing in person. If you just, put a whole bunch of green down or some red for lava or something, I feel like you end up forgetting it, and it's just caked on, and you can't get it off. I don't know.
Yeah, which I know there are some third-party products, or maybe it's even in the official D&D spell effects or whatever, but I'm not going to drop money for that.
No. What I will drop money for, though, is that map maker, though. I will give it just a little shout out because I've only used it one time, and I used it for maybe 4 or 5 hours, right? But once before I used something called
Incarnate.
Incarnate. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's the one that I've used, and
it was good.
Yeah, it's good. I've only ever used the free version, so and really only for world maps, but it's pretty good for that.
Funny enough, I feel like I used it mostly for world building too. Which I thought was a pain. It did have the right tools, and I did pay for it. I did do the paid version. It had some more assets and all that, which was great. But after so many months of not DMing, I was like, well, I'm not using this.
Yeah. Why am I dropping money on you? Sorry, Incarnate.
Exactly. But in this last week when I haven't run a one-off in a long period of time, I was like, I kind of want to go balls to the wall here. I kind of want to go all out, and I want to make something really neat. So I tried to learn this new dungeon draft. It's not really like a website. It's like a link, I suppose. But so I bought the version, the pay for version. I think they have some sort of small free version. I was like, no, we're going all in. So it was $20, and I have it now, right? You can get DLCs for it. You get expansions, that kind of stuff.
That that's cool though. It's not a subscription. It's a one-time purchase, and then you can buy add-ons. Okay,
that's why I was super hyped about buying it. To be honest, because Incarnate, I was like, it's $8, $10 a month, whatever it may have been at the time. I was like, I don't want to pay for it month by month. But I just spent $20, and I have this map editor that's very reasonable. It was fairly simple to use. I had to watch a couple videos, to be fair, so there's a little bit of a learning curve in the beginning. But I think that's like most map makers at that point.
Yeah.
But it was pretty handy. And the map I made, I thought it looked pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think Zach was giving me some good feedback afterwards. He was saying it was pretty solid. And that was really only for a couple hours. I'm not to my own horn. I'm saying this map maker is pretty solid. I think if I put some more time in it, and I really, really put some grit into this map, I can make something absolutely killer and very specific to the one-off that we're running or campaign or whatever it may be. So I want to run something else just so I could use it again, to be perfectly honest. Although after we ran the Golden Vault heist mission that we just did, I kind of want Zach to run more stuff now because I really want to heist more. I want to steal stuff.
Yeah, it's coming. I'm not going to leave you guys alone with this book. You see, I kind of jumped the gun a little bit because now I kind of want to have a running story with you guys, but I started you guys off with the 9th level adventure, and Now I can't say, oh, well, let's go back with these same characters and do a 5th level adventure now. So,
well, it sounds like you're just going to have to level us up, Zach. 10th
Yeah.
level. Let's do it.
Speaking of their 4th level adventure in there takes place in Revel's End, which is a high security prison, which is also featured in the Dungeons and Dragons movie that is releasing tomorrow.
That I did not know. First of all, Revel's End sounds really cool. But I have to know. Just tell me this one thing, and I will leave you alone. And whatever happens, happens. Is it a prison break, Zach?
I haven't read close enough. I'm pretty sure it's similar to the adventure I ran you guys through. You definitely, the thing that you need belongs to a prisoner, but I don't think you have to get the prisoner out. You got to get the thing from them. And I'll say no more about that, but it seems really cool.
Oh, see, you can't play a monk because if you're a monk, you have to do unarmed strikes, and I really want to make a shiv in this maximum security prison. I need to make a little spoon knife that I use.
Speaking from experience, the first time my party had a TPK,
I was waiting for the first time I was shivved.
Yeah, the first time I was shivved, I died. The first time that I was ever in a TPK, my character died. Our good buddy, the red hair Eric, his character died. And then Seth, he was playing Schmidt the monk, and he survived. He succeeded on his death saves, so they put him in prison. And so he was able to escape very easily because nothing that he needed, was an item. He had everything he needed just on his lonesome, and he snuck out because monks are good at stealth, and yeah, I just felt really gypped being a bloated corpse in the cell next to him as my guy. He takes a quick short rest and then boop boop boop, he's out of there.
Yeah, I guess you feel a little left out there. But as far as cool factor goes, though, being a monk in a prison, I mean, I think that's on everyone's bucket list. I mean, I've been a rogue in prison, and that was very cool. I definitely felt like the hero of the group. Like, oh, I got this, easy peasy. I get us out of here. Which it was still a terrible experience because we were in a fire giant base. So
yeah.
I was running around with my head cut off like a headless chicken. Right, it was terrible. But we did all escape, and I was able to pick the lock, so that was good. But as a monk, being able to just not have anything on you and still do anything you need, to me, that feels the same as just being a druid in prison, where you just turn into a rat and walk out. It's just like, it's so, you have everything you need at your fingertips. You don't need any extra gear. If they strip you of your magic items, your armor, whatever it may be, you're set to go.
Yeah, pretty much. Which, speaking of druids, we're not talking about them, but I think that's a great segue into our episode today, which is regarding the druids and paladins Unearthed Arcana that came out like a month ago at this point. So anyway, our previous episode, or one of our more recent episodes, we discussed the druids from this UA, and I've been foaming at the mouth to talk about paladins since they're my favorite class. So I think we'll just jump right into it. Base level thoughts. And welcome back to TableTalk Friday, a D&D podcast. My name is Zach Carvon. I'm joined by my one best friend, Andrew Romano. We're both doing great. So anyway, back to paladins.
Breaking tradition. I like it.
Yeah, right, exactly. I'm super hyped up to talk about these paladins. Are
you going Nova, Zach? Are you going Nova right now?
Yeah, that's what Todd Kenrick. That's a term he used in the video they discussed. Anyway, yes, I'm going Nova. I love. So overall, I'll say I love a lot of the changes that they've made to the Paladin. As a avid Paladin player, but there are a couple things that really just grind my gears. So we'll get into it as we get into it.
We'll feel as we feel it,
So starting off with the Paladin, they have their lay on hands. This is more or less untouched. You still have your pool that's equal to 5 times your level, and you can use 5 points to heal poison, or you can distribute the hit points from the healing in any amount that you want. The one difference to this feature, just at level 1, is in the player's handbook version, they allow you to cure specifically poison and disease, or disease. So you have to spend 5 hit points to cure poison and 5 to cure disease, so you can't do both at the same time. But in any case, disease is not mentioned here at all. So I don't know if in One D&D we're sort of stepping away from disease as being like a mechanic. I believe in the Druid, now that I'm thinking about it, there was something to do with them, or maybe it's monks and we haven't gotten to them yet, but like being immune to disease. It just doesn't seem to come up in this version. And specifically at 3rd level, Paladins had Divine Health in the 2014 Player's Handbook. That is no longer present here. So Paladins can catch a cold.
They can catch a cold. I've heard somewhere, down the chain of rumors or whispers, whatever it may be, that they are trying to kind of do away with the disease. I can't even really call it a mechanic per se, but the disease idea, which to me is a little disappointing. There really wasn't much going on in the D&D world that could give you disease. I know there's creatures that can, if they hit you with like a melee attack, it's very much so like what is it, like a Nidoran with like poison touch, right? When it hits you in Pokemon, it's got a chance to poison you. It's something like that, right? You make a save or something. I kind of dig the idea of disease being a threat, though. To me, I like threats that are not just, being grappled or doing damage, right? I like the idea of, petrification, where you have to make a couple saves and like you could turn into a stone, and like there's stakes there, right? So disease, like there's chances for it to escalate. There's ways for it to turn into some sort of quest. It could be an arc in your campaign where, you guys all got some sort of terrible magical disease that you have to cure. Maybe it's a town that has all gotten a disease, something like that. There's a lot of things you could do with it, and I just feel like no one is doing a lot of stuff with it, period.
Yeah, so, and I've got 2 thoughts about this. So, on the one hand, I have never seen anyone ever include disease in their D&D campaign. Though it's always been in the back of my mind. I've had this idea for an adventure where there's a diseased town, and how do you deal with that? Keep yourselves from getting sick. But so at the same time, it's interesting that they're removing it here. But I almost feel like that might be to the benefit of disease, because the biggest enemy of having disease have any stakes or weight in the campaign is the Paladin, who at 1st level can cure disease, and at 3rd level is immune to disease. So, okay, you want to run this, disease section of the campaign where, we come to this town and blah, 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 blah. The Paladin doesn't give a shit. give me 3 days and everyone's cured, and also there's no chance that I can get sick. So
on the same page, we were talking about monks just a moment ago. I do like the idea that at a certain point they don't age, they don't need to eat anymore, they're completely immune to disease. To me, that's a very flavor. It's not very strong per se. Like, I'm not going to give you any sort of strength there, but I think it's very flavorful. Like, I look forward to that level of monk when I get that, because I feel like a god. I feel like I'm above human at that point. I am a hero. There's something crazy about me that's different that most of the other players at the table won't have. I don't think there's many other races or classes that make you do that. I think Warforged don't have to eat or something like that, and maybe they don't have to sleep as much. They still have to sit, idle or stationary. But to me, that feels very unique. So I'm a little disappointed, but in the same sense, Zach, we completely forgot or skimmed over. We did experience one disease in our D&D careers. Don't forget about super tetanus, please, Zach.
Yeah, from White Plume Mountain.
Was it White Plume? Was that, I can't remember if it was from Storm Kings or if it was from Dungeon of the Mad Mage. No, it was like a DLC almost.
Oh, it might have been. I feel like it was. We were playing through Storm King's Thunder in the post game that has nothing to do with Storm King's Thunder, but it was still our campaign from that, and we went to the Fire Giant Stronghold, which Seth replaced with White Plume Mountain.
Oh, that was so
and
cool.
I feel like that's where there was like a spike trap with super tetanus.
Mm-hmm. There was a terrible. I'm probably droning on. Well, we should be talking about Paladins, but there was this terrible, terrible trap where we were all thinking about it so hard, where you basically had to, it was like a slip and slide, but we had to get to the other side,
yep.
And there was holes on either side of the slip and slide. I don't remember what book this is from, so I hope this is not a spoiler of some sort. But, we're thinking, okay, we have to set up a rope. We have to do this. We have to fly across somehow. We have to set up some sort of pulley system. We have to do something crazy here. And realistically, we realized after we finished it, I don't even remember what the solution was. We realized after we finished it, like 2 of us had Dimension Door. And none of us teleported across.
No, that's the fucking thing. Patrick goes down. He falls
into the spike trip.
Yeah, he gets super tetanus, and then me, a paladin, I cure his disease instantly. But
it was terrible.
But so to your point, if I'm the DM and I want to include super tetanus as a trap, it sucks that the paladin can get around that so easily. But at the same time, not every party features a paladin. In fact, our current party in Avernus does not, specifically because I decided not to be a paladin, and then also Sean later made a paladin who chose to die. So.
Well,
it is
yeah,
what it
there
is.
is that. Maybe paladins aren't good enough then if he chose to die. Maybe they just wasn't strong enough.
Anyway, moving on. So first level, they get lay on hands. Nothing new there. Additionally, they can still cast spells. Notably, paladins now gain cantrips just like a cleric. So.
Oh yes. Oh, I completely forgot about the cantrips.
Yep. So at first level, they have 2, and then they don't get another cantrip until 10th level. So it'll be a while. They don't get quite as many cantrips as a cleric, and they're limited to the divine spell list. But it's still notable that the paladin now has something that was very distinctly belonging to the cleric in the 2014 version, and then obviously in Tasha's we get the fighting style that lets paladins take a cleric cantrip if they really want. But now it's here, and it's baked in. I don't have too many thoughts about this. I feel like the cleric cantrips in general aren't that powerful, so it's not a huge deal. Though I will mention they did buff Spare the Dying so that it now restores 1 hit point if you're dead, so it'll revive that person.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll come up, but at the same time, the paladin can already do that with lay on hands. So
I think it's a good cantrip at this point now because it can do that. But I don't think it's fantastic by any means. To your point, the divine list now of cantrips is not, it's fine. It's fine. But what I am happy about is that they're getting cantrip, period. I like the idea, because up to this point, with all of the 1D&D playtest material, and we haven't seen a lot of the mages yet, but with all the material so far, I think every caster has had some sort of cantrip, I believe. I don't think anything has missed out, no?
Did rangers get cantrips?
I think they did. Unless I'm completely wrong, I'm pretty sure they did get cantrips.
They may have gotten cantrips.
And then I will redact it after this episode if I have to. But
well, they might be. If they didn't, it seems like they'd probably stick with the example set by the paladin at least. And I think it's a good choice overall.
Yeah, I'm gonna be really honest. I don't like the idea of any spellcaster not having cantrips. I think it's fine if they maybe have less. If they're not a full blown wizard, sure. Maybe if they're paladin, they have 1 or 2, whatever it may be, or a ranger similarly, right? But I think every caster, if they're gonna have spells, they should have a little pizzazz that they could put on the daily, every day, all day long.
Yeah, it is nice just to have that be an option. As someone who's capable of casting magic, it does feel really bad to be like, not that this roleplay scenario comes up very often, but say, you run into someone and they say, "Show me some magic," and you're like, "Oh well, no, I'm not going to blow a first level spell slot." So I guess I don't do magic.
You imagine I'm a spellcaster. Show me something. Well, I can't.
I refuse to.
I'm not blowing my load here. I'm not doing it.
Or even, I'm all out of spell slots. Sorry, no. There's nothing that I can show you.
Yeah, that seems stinky not to be able to rely. Although I guess to be reasonable, the ranger and the paladin alike, let's be real. If they run out of spell slots, they're okay. They have their bows. They have their hammers. They have their melee that they can do. But on top of that, nothing new as far as the spell casting, but I will just reiterate that we're still doing you can only prepare the amount of spells equal to the slots that you have for that level. So if you could prepare, 3 first level slots, you can only have 3 first level spells prepared. Which,
oh yeah, and that definitely sucks for the paladin really hard. Because in the player's handbook, you could be a paladin with, at first level, you could reasonably have, 16, 14 charisma, and then you can prepare a number of spells equal to your level. I guess first level paladin, you wouldn't have spells, so that's also a change, is at first level paladins get spells. But in any case, at second level, as a paladin, I could prepare, reasonably 5, 6, 7 spells. And this version, you're stuck at second level, you have 2. So it sucks. It's not great. To be fair, you only had 2 spell slots anyway. at second level as a paladin, and they're both going towards divine smite. So I don't know why
Yeah.
I'm bitching about it, but I'm bitching about it.
I guess you're not casting anything at that point, but still, I don't know. I like, to your point, it doesn't matter as much with the paladin because you have other uses of your spell slots, and maybe even similarly for like a sorcerer. But I just still feel like this is one of the biggest nerfs for casters. Period. If I want to prepare, 15 9th level spells, I could do it. If I can only cast one per day, I want to be able to do that. I want to have that option, But for simplicity's sake, it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll learn to live with it.
We'll see.
One thing that I won't learn to live with is what they did to divine smite. So we'll talk about the good because they've done a couple things. So they've expanded the ways in which you can divine smite, but severely restricted how often you can divine smite.
Yeah.
And so the update here is that in the 2014 Player's Handbook, Paladins could only smite on a melee attack, but they could do it on any number of attacks on their turn, and there were no additional restrictions. So additionally, you couldn't do it with an unarmed strike. So it had to be an attack using a melee weapon. Now, this new version of Divine Smite, you can use it on any attack with melee or ranged weapons and on an unarmed strike. So first of all, unarmed strike is just a big one. I feel like it should have been there all along. I have no problems with this change. But with ranged attacks, I could go either way. I don't really care. I think that a ranged paladin does sort of defeat the flavor of a typical paladin, but at the same time, I played Morwen, who was a dexterity-based paladin, and if I could have smited at range, I definitely would have liked to. So I could take it or leave it. But the thing that I just can't get past, and what I made very clear in my survey response for the paladin, since that's out now, is you can only use your divine smite for one attack per turn. Additionally, you can't use it on the same turn that you cast a spell. The reason... All right. Jeremy Crawford, I'm talking to you now. I understand the reason. You don't want the paladin to be able to cast a smite spell and use a divine smite in the same attack. That's a lot of dice added to a single attack. At second level, that seems really powerful. And I'll grant you that. I think it's appropriate, especially since in this new Unearthed Arcana, they've updated the way that the smite spells work. So it's no longer a bonus action that you take prior to your attack. Now it's a bonus action that activates, I believe, while you attack. Let me double check.
I think you use your bonus action on the strike, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
so,
it's a bonus action
expend it,
which you take immediately after hitting a creature with a weapon or an unarmed strike.
Which, just to be clear, I think that's a significant improvement from what it was before, where you had to kind of hope you hit something, and if not, it was just a wasted spell slot, and it just felt bad. To me, it was almost like, do I want to use this, or do I just want to Divine Smite again?
Yeah, so that's an appropriate change. I love the buff to that, but this is just a little too limiting for me. I can understand as a paladin who loves to smite on every attack that I can, and just start combat just blowing my my highest slot level that I can, and just decimating the enemy before Seth has any chance to throw out their high powered abilities. That always brings me nothing but joy. But I can understand the other players at the table who are sick and tired of watching me roll fistfuls of dice every time I attack. So I can say, we can find a middle ground. I think the change to only allow one Divine Smite per turn is appropriate. It's reasonable. It makes a lot of sense. The rogue can't sneak attack multiple times in a turn, so the paladin shouldn't be able to smite. I think that's fine. What I'm not okay with is the limitation for spells. So as a paladin, if I want to Divine Smite, this was my whole build with Morwen, was I was a paladin sorcerer multiclass, and so I could attack with my action, and then I could bonus action quicken spell a green flame blade, and then add that on top. And so I had these additional things, and all of those were Divine Smiteable. Now it completely sucks the fun out of that. I can't quicken spell a cantrip if I want to, or I can't use my action to cast a healing spell, or my bonus action to cast Shield of Faith on the same turn that I use Divine Smite. That just seems a little too much.
I think it's, I don't know. I'm conflicted on this a little bit, but in the same sense, if the Paladin wants to go Nova, as they're saying, if they want to go ham, they want to just decimate the enemy as quickly as possible, and they want to spend a drastic amount of resources doing it, I don't really see a problem with it. They're half casters, so they don't have a lot of spell slots as it is. So if you're telling me as a Paladin that you want to burn 2 spell slots this turn to just do a bunch more damage, I don't see a problem with it. Once they start running out of spell slots, I mean, the Paladins aren't, in my opinion, are not that great without their spell slots, because it's all about their smites, right? It's not even about casting the spells, which I also have a problem with, because as a Paladin, I want to have more options. If I want to be a caster Paladin, I mean, I would play a cleric, but if I want to be a caster Paladin, I want to be a caster Paladin. Maybe I don't want a Divine Smite as much, or maybe I want a Divine Smite with my spells. I don't see it as a big problem. I've known Zach in front of me for a long period of time, and if Zach wants to roll dice, he will roll dice. He will find a way to roll that damage. I guarantee it. It does not have to be with the Paladin class, although it probably will be.
Yeah, I'll find my way around it, but I don't like the restriction there. I do think the Paladin is somewhere where we can shore up the rules a little bit to make it a little less overpowered, because I will say Paladin is the perfect multi-class for those of us who want to go nuts, because just that 2-level dip for Divine Smite, go anything else that gets you a bunch of spell slots and you're golden. Because you get around that half caster issue by, all right, I'm gonna multi-class Bladesinger Wizard, and now I still get my extra attack from that class, but I get all these extra spell slots, or I want to go Hexblade Warlock, and now I get my packed spell slots in addition to my Paladin spell slots, and so it can get nutty. I think that they're heading in the right direction with this, but as is, it's wrong. Even if they want to limit it and say you can only use a Divine Smite or a spell with the word smite in it, and not both on the same turn, I think that's a compromise that I'm willing to make. But no spells at all on the same turn you smite, absolutely not.
It just seems silly. In the same breath, because I feel like it's a little contradictive, right? In the same breath, they're saying, oh, you can have these ranged smites now, which is something we didn't have before, which I'm going to be honest, I've played a Paladin one time. I did not know you couldn't smite on a ranged strike, so that to me was surprising. So in that same breath, they're saying, oh, more options, but then taking away your options with the spell restrictions. So I don't know. I kind of want to see what else they do with this. I kind of want them to tweak it a little bit more. They feel good and all, but to your point, maybe the sole reason that they're making this change, that you can only cast a spell or smite, is because of multi-classers. If that's the case, could they just put a stipulation in there and say that this doesn't combine with other class spell slots or something? Like, I don't know how you would word it per se, but I feel like it's doable, maybe? I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly how to make it work, but it can. And so I think overall, this isn't the end of the world, but I will be upset if it releases as is. And I'm sure the team over at D&D, or Wizards of the Coast, they know that Paladin players are going to be upset about this. So we'll see what happens. Soapbox over. Anyway, going on to the rest of the features of the Paladin. We've been going on here for a while, so we'll start and pick up the pace a little bit. So at second level, they get their fighting style just like they did in the 2014 Player's Handbook. Of course, now it's the fighting style feats. So I know that I believe there's the stipulation for these feats in the first UA that we got, that they're limited to the warrior class. They specify, even though you're not a member of the warrior group, you can still take these feats. So cool.
God, give me the warriors already, please.
I would love
want
to
see them so bad.
Same. Now at third level, paladins get their channel divinity just like they did before, but you'll notice, just like the druid had their wild shape now as a channel nature feature, The Paladins are getting something similar where their Divine Sense that they used to get at first level as just something that they have that's separate from all their other features is now a Channel Divinity that they can use, and that's their default. And then they get their additional Channel Divinity from their subclass. I think that this is a welcome change, and Paladins now have equal Channel Divinities to Clerics. So, again, something that's very welcome. I don't think that the Channel Divinity of the Paladin was ever that powerful that they shouldn't have, as many as a Cleric does in general. So...
Agreed, and I think even the Cleric got more uses. I like the idea of just having more use of something that's pretty key to the class. Like Paladins and Clerics, they should have a bunch of these Channel Divinities. There's no reason not to. That's their thing. They're channeling the divine. That's literally, it's part of who they are as a class. So why shouldn't they have more options, right? And I'm looking forward to maybe more of those. Maybe they do something with Action Surge. Maybe they do a little more with Wild Shape. The stuff that's kind of staple there. I'm just happy to see more of them. Strength-wise, I think they're cool. They're great for the Paladin. They're still not overwhelming by any means, which is good. I don't think the Paladins need to be overwhelming anymore, any more than they already are anyway. But just quantity gets me the most excited about these things, to be honest.
Yeah, and I will say I don't mind Divine Sense existing at 3rd level at all. I felt like it was kind of weird that as a 1st level Paladin who hasn't even sworn an oath yet, I'm perfectly keen and tuned in to specific types of creatures that I probably haven't encountered yet.
Really?
At 1st level, maybe undead, that makes sense. That seems like something you'd be, in tune with, but to be able to instantly pick out that man's a devil or that man's an angel, obviously a paladin, even a 1st level one is, a trained individual of certain esteem, but I always thought it was kind of weird that they have this perfect radar for all these things just right out of the gate before they can even cast spells. They know, so I think it's appropriate putting it at 3rd level. I don't have any problems with it.
I won't make a big deal out of Divine Sense because I know we have to keep it moving, but I do love Divine Sense. I know it's not the most powerful thing by any means, and I'm all for the flavor in a lot of these classes. To me, Divine Sense is kind of the opposite. It's not something that you attain later on. It's more so, you're the beginning adventure. You're just realizing that you have some sort of psychic abilities, or you're attuned to some sort of deity, right? You have that tingle, the Peter tingle, if you will. you could feel something that's not right off to your right hand side. You're like, there's something not right about that gentleman in the corner, right, with the hood on. To me, that's very base kit kind of stuff. I'd love to. 3rd level's fine. I wouldn't even mind seeing it earlier, to be perfectly honest. I like it. It's not strong. It doesn't break anything. Sure, I think it could put a little bit of a damper in some of the DM's plans, per se, if they had some sort of, fiendish presence or some sort of ghostly encounter that they wanted to handle, right? But I don't think it's busted. It doesn't tell you exactly where everything is.
And it is kind of fine-tuned to... work in the story's favor at that point. If the DM throws a ghost in disguise that the party's not supposed to know they're a ghost yet, and they have a paladin there, that's what the paladin's there to do. If I'm the DM, I'm not going to put this situation in here and expect my paladin not to use their Divine Sense. I hope they do. I've never seen it used to any good effect before.
I've seen it used a couple times, never anything drastic. But it might be the name. I think it could get a name improvement, maybe Sussy Sus or Divine Sus. It would help you kind of figure out what's going on. I feel like if they just change it a little bit, we'd be more into it.
All right, I think that's enough of that. We'll move on to 3rd level. Paladin gets their subclass. We'll talk about it when we get to it. But in this Unearthed Arcana, they have the Oath of Devotion, which is the milk toast basic paladin.
Milk toast?
Yeah, what? You never heard milk toast?
I've never heard milk toast before.
It's like vanilla.
It sounds absurd. Never mind. Just keep going. Just ignore me.
5th level, they get extra attack. No news there. Faithful Steed.
Ooh.
At 5th level, you can easily call on the aid of an otherworldly steed. You always have the Find Steed spell prepared, and it doesn't count against the number of spells you can prepare. When you cast the spell, its casting time is an action, otherwise it's 10 minutes, and you can cast the spell once without expending a spell slot, and you regain the ability to do so when you finish a long rest. I think this is pretty cool. So, looking at Find Steed, they've completely revamped this spell. so that it functions a lot like I think of it like a ranger's beast companion, where they have the so you can cast this spell. The paladin can summon it for free once per day, or once per long rest, I should say. And you choose whether it's a celestial, fey, or fiendish type steed. And basically, depending on what spell slot level you use to cast it, they gain more power depending on the slot you use. So in 5e, as it exists, we have Find Steed, which I believe gains no benefits from being upcast. And then we have Find Greater Steed, which is a 4th level spell that lets you choose something cool, like a Pegasus or a flying creature. Now you get to choose whatever the steed looks like. It's not super specific, like what kind of animal it has to look like. But if you cast using a 4th level spell slot, then it also gains the ability to fly. And so we won't jump in super in depth about all the mechanics of it, but overall, I think it's really cool. I think when I think of a paladin, especially before I played D&D and understood like what the Platonic Dungeons and Dragons version of the paladin was, I always thought of like a knight in shining armor on horseback. Like,
no, absolutely, it's part of their image.
Yeah, so including the mountedness of the paladin in any meaningful way at all, I think is cool. And I like that it exists as a feature that doesn't specify that the steed has to be there the whole time. So at any point you can dispel this spell, and now you're in the middle of this cave and it's not in the way.
Glowing horse that you have in the center of the room.
Yeah, well, and that's something that I ran into. My hippogriff steed that I had the whole time as Morrowind, well, until it died, was just always getting in the way. And then I got a griffin later, and again, it's just trying to fit a large creature through a dungeon does not work. So.
And I'll just throw out there, Zach, that I apologize again. I always think back to this. I didn't mean to kill your mount. It was a missed shot from the rogue in the cave. I don't usually hit anything. I was glad I hit something. I didn't expect it to be the mount. So,
which was also frozen alive at that point. It was like trapped there. It couldn't move, and truly it was in the way. I shouldn't have brought it, but
you did, and it was cool. And to me, it was like a cave dwelling mount. Like it was really cool. It was sussing out all the whatever was going on down there. It was helping us sniff around. And I want you to know that I stuffed that down deep inside my soul, and every once in a while it comes back up, and I feel terrible again because I felt absolutely awful, like an awful human being that day.
That's okay. I think that was the character, and I think just channeling the paladin, they always tend to just shit on everyone else's fun. I think that was the character where I really just became an inconvenience to everyone else at the table. For certain things. I mean, there were also moments where I killed the dragon in one hit. No one else even had to do anything. So there's that too. So
you decimated that poor thing.
Yeah, but
I will say,
but I do feel bad about that as well. So.
But it was a cool moment. I'm gonna be honest. I don't have the same feeling about paladins that everyone else may about their damage dealing abilities, because I'm so used to you and Sean at our table dealing incredible amounts of damage. Period. So I don't.
Yeah, no matter what I play.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter what you're playing. You will find a way to deal that incredible amount of damage because that's your thing. That's what makes D&D a lot of fun for you, right? Is that synergy and that damage and getting that oomph in combat, right? I know you're definitely a combat kind of guy. But you don't need to be a paladin to do that. So I don't think of paladins as that strong. Maybe at a different table where I didn't have multiple people that were capable of building just these incredible characters, maybe I would feel differently. But I don't feel like they go as strong as people say they are. But maybe I'll feel differently later. The one other thing I want to say about the 5th level Faithful Steed ability, I was doing some reviewing online. And I wanted to hear what people had thought about the druids and the paladins as we started talking about this stuff. I was surprised to hear, I don't know if you've heard this opinion, multiple people brought up the idea that they felt like they were being forced into having a mount with this ability, which to me, I mean, I get it. To me, that makes sense. You kind of are being railroaded into having some sort of mount, but in the same sense, who doesn't want that? Like, I built in, I get a mount, later a flying mount as part of my class. That's That's pretty cool. I mean, people pick subclasses for the mounts, like the Drake Warden Ranger is sick. I'm picking that because I want a little Drake. Beastmaster Ranger, you get a bear or a boar or an elk of some sort that you can have with you. Like, that's super cool. I love the idea that at 5th level, you get to be that, to your point, knight in shining armor with your steed. I think it's super cool.
I think that, personally, it doesn't bother me, but I can definitely understand that viewpoint. Just because, my platonic ideal of a paladin in 5e does not have a mount, because it's not. Find Steed is a spell that could be better used, on aid or any other second level spell. I think in general, I can definitely see where they're coming from, and maybe to your point, there are other subclasses that feature a built-in mount, but this is the default paladin, so no matter what, if I'm an Oath of Devotion paladin, Vengeance, Conquest, whatever, they're all getting a mount. So I could almost see why some people wouldn't be so jazzed about that, because sometimes I don't want to be in mounted combat, but it's optimal for me to do so. So I guess having that, what was previously a character creation choice and how you want to conceptualize your character is now being foisted on all paladins. I think that's a fair complaint. I don't mind it that much, as really my one biggest issue with the paladin here overall is that it just seems like it's getting to be a little too cleric-y, where the cleric has access to all the paladin spells, the paladin has access to all the cleric spells, paladins have cantrips now. So I think it's something nice that makes them stand out. And even more so, we'll get to it in a second, but the paladin gets the divine strikes feature of the cleric. That used to be a cleric thing. Now it belongs to paladins.
I don't know if we need any more divine named abilities for the paladin, to be perfectly honest.
Well, now they call it radiant strikes.
Oh, that's not as good, though. I complained about it, and I'm like, oh, that's not as good anymore. I want it back.
I think it makes sense, because they have divine smite and divine strike. Like, that's a little too close in my mind.
I don't know. Maybe it'll get reworked. I don't know. But
anyway, speeding through along like we promised to do.
So fast.
So they've swapped the levels at which you get your subclass feature and the aura of protection. I don't have any feelings about that, but it's something that happened. So at 6th level now, you get your second subclass feature, which, I will say, as someone who's played a paladin, I think it's nice to get this here. It took me forever to get that second subclass feature, and a lot of the time, your subclass doesn't feel like it matters as much as a paladin, because it takes until 7th level to get the second thing from it. So I don't have any problem with that. Aura of Protection is the best paladin feature, though, and so having it at 7th level makes sense to me as well. So it's even more of an investment if you really want that, which is very specifically belonging to the paladin. So there aren't any huge changes to it. I believe they didn't mention previously, if another paladin is president, a creature can only benefit from one.
If another paladin is the president, you actually get the benefit of 2 aura protections.
Did I say president?
He said president.
Yeah, if another paladin is the president, everyone is under his aura of protection.
I love the idea you go into a temple and there's like a chief paladin or like an arc paladin, whatever you want to call him, and it's like, what is his title? It's President Paladin. It's just like, what? Why is that? It could have been anything cooler than that. But anyway, just basic thoughts on that. If I could share my 2 cents,
go for it.
To me, paladins. Again, I'm a cleric lover. I love clerics to the ends of the earth. They can do everything that I want them to do. But I'm a diehard support character. So to me, the biggest draw to playing a paladin is the aura. And now pushing it farther in makes me want to play paladins less. And maybe that's just specific to me. I don't think there's a ton of people that are out there that are like, yeah, I just want to be support. I want to be in the back. But to me, that's so cool, and I love the idea that I could step up into the fray of combat and help all of my allies just by standing there. Like, that's sick. My presence brings people bravery and courage. Like, to me, that's very heroic, very cinematic. And I have to wait till 7th level to get it. It's just, if I'm gonna play a 7th level character, I can just be a 7th level cleric. I mean, come on. Like, I just want that aura earlier, and I get it's very strong, so I think it's very feasible. Just my personal complaint that probably holds no weight to most other people, but I wish we could see it a little earlier, just for my sake.
I think that's a perfectly reasonable take. The Aura of Protection is my favorite thing that Paladins get because it makes them universally useful. Like, once you hit that threshold and everyone has +3 or 4 to their saves, there's not a person in the party that doesn't appreciate your character being there.
So good. Like, a +4 to a fireball save? I mean, +5 to a fireball? Like, think about that. That's especially if someone else in the party has evasion, and you're 7th level, so someone will have it if they're that class. That's so good.
Yeah, and imagine us going down into hell. We're going to go kill Asmodeus, and we don't have a single paladin with us to buff our saves.
Zach, I think you're probably leaning into the fact that Asmodeus is some sort of spellcaster. He's probably, strictly melee. I can't imagine him having any spells or curses or anything like that. So I really wouldn't be worried. I don't think we need a paladin here.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, he's going to have a club, probably maybe some daggers.
New feature. At 9th level, paladins get Abjure Foes. As a magic action, you can expend 1 use of your channel divinity to overwhelm foes with divine awe. It's very much like a turn undead, but it's the paladin version. So as you present your holy symbol or weapon, you can target a number of creatures equal to your charisma mod that you can see within 60 feet of you. Each target must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the target has the dazed and frightened conditions for 1 minute or until it takes any damage. Notably, on a successful save, the target has the dazed condition for 1 minute or until it takes any damage. So regardless of whether or not they fail the save, they can only take an action, bonus action, or move on their turn, but not all 3. So that's basically a slow spell that with 100% guaranteed hit rate that paladins just get. I think that this is too powerful, but also I love it, and I hope they keep it.
I think it's definitely strong because Dazed is I don't want to say it's like a meta mechanic now, but I feel like as they introduce it more and they start talking about it with these new releases, it's definitely strong. The slow spell on its own, 3rd level spell, would probably be higher. It's very strong, right? So having such a similar effect where you're reducing their action economy or you're reducing their speed, that's a big deal for no save. I mean, it requires a save, but no save required for that aspect. That is very strong. As far as cinematics go, though, think about it. Like an enemy conquest paladin walks in, right? And he used this ability, and he announces himself to the party. He's like, I'm going to destroy all of you and go find your families and your homes and burn them to the ground. And as he does this, your knees begin to get wobbly, right? And you're frightened because you failed to save, but also your vision gets a little cloudy and you're scared and you're like, to me, this is a better version of Frighten almost.
Oh, seriously?
It's kind of boring. Like, to me, this is just an upgrade of any sort of dragon ability where they roar and it scares somebody. To me, this is way better and way more flavorfully used.
Well, yeah, and it's divine awe. Like, this is where the paladin, says there, by the power of Grayskull, you shall not pass, whatever you want it to be. And then instantly, there's the flash of light or, a crack in the ground releases hellfire and everyone's just too stunned to do anything, in awe of this awesome display. But at the same time, okay. Now that I'm thinking about it even more, because as much as I love making the paladin just impossibly powerful, this lasts for a minute, even if they fail,
or I mean,
damage. even if they succeed. Oh, I'm sorry. If they take damage,
or if they take damage. Let me see.
1 minute or until it takes any damage. Okay. Phew. I was about to say that's disgusting.
Agreed. You take that one sentence out, and I think it's probably disgustingly broken. That's very strong. Maybe another class.
Yeah.
maybe not the paladin.
Okay. So and it ends if they fail as well, if they take any damage. So that's cool. And I feel like that almost works as like a nice de-escalating tactic too, because you could be a redemption paladin. You abjure your foes. Now everyone can only do one thing on their turn, and it's either flee or fight, if they're frightened, they're gonna flee. So
dang, you kind of made me think about this a little differently, to be honest, because you're right. It is a big de-escalating ability that you get at a higher level, 9. It takes a while to get to 9, and it doesn't actually include any damage. So this could be a very diplomatic move. This could be a power whip it out on the table move right here. I like that a lot.
Yeah, shut up, everyone, and listen to me.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I actually love that. I'm way more into this than I was a second ago. I love that. I'm all about that flavor.
Super cool feature.
Okay.
At 10th level, you get another subclass feature. Well, I promise we'll get to it. At 11th level, you get Radiant Strikes, which is just like the Divine Strikes feature from the Cleric. Anytime you hit a target with a simple or martial weapon, the target takes an extra 1d8 radiant damage. Note, this also works for ranged attacks. And they don't specify that it works with unarmed strikes, but it should. It definitely should.
Attack roll using a simple or martial weapon. That's weird. I don't like the restriction of putting things just on weapons for the most part. I like the idea that, yeah, sure, you're like a holy knight and you have this, Excalibur sword that you could smite things with. But just, if I want to smite someone with my pinky finger, let me do it. Let me skadoosh them, just let me do what I want to do. It's not, no one's going to break the game because they use their fists to do it. I don't think.
Yeah, I think that's an oversight. I'm sure they're going to include unarmed strikes if they decide to keep smite on unarmed strikes as well.
That's true.
But in any case, an extra 1d8 radiant damage on every hit. It does lessen the blow of not being able to smite every attack a little bit, but not enough.
It's something. I think an extra d8 of damage is nice, though. It's not even a d4 or d6. It's a full d8, which I think is cool. Whatever it may be. Next level. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. At 12th level, you do get a feat feature, so you can either take a feat or grow an extra foot. Either one works for you, which is fine. It's normal stuff.
Also at 4th and 8th level, but
which I mean is kind of crazy because you could
before.
have 4 or 5 feet at that point. That's pretty cool. I'm sorry.
All right, yeah.
I'm sorry. It was stupid.
You lose your privileges. I'm gonna do the next one.
I wanted one, Zach.
Aura of Courage. I forget when Paladins get this in the player's handbook. I don't think it was 13th level, but I could be mistaken. At 13th level, you and your allies are immune to the frightened condition, which, good thing. Really, this is another great feature, but only if you're fighting dragons. Or, there are plenty of undead that frighten too, but never does it hurt as much as when a dragon does their draconic presence or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's cool. I think if anybody has this ability, it should be Paladins. But again, I'm not the biggest fan of the frightened feature on its own. I wish it could be reworked to something a little more like the dazed effect. Maybe not entirely. Maybe there's some sort of, maybe we can have both side by side or something like that. But my problem with this, and maybe no one else has read it like this before, I brought it up. The idea in the wording, it says, if a frightened ally enters the aura, that condition is suppressed while the ally is there. I don't know if it's somewhere in the book, if I missed it, or somewhere in the PDF. I don't know what the definition of suppressed is. To me, it's it's idle until later, right? If you suppress something, it's going to come back, right? If you suppress your feelings, right? If you're gunny sacking it, you have that emotional style, right? It's going to come out later. You might get angry or something like that. Your feelings might come out later. So if you're frightened and you walk into this aura, and suppose it's it's a frightened feature that makes you have saves at the end of your turn, do you still make those saves? Do you not make those saves? If you step back out of the circle, do you immediately have to make the save? How does that... I don't know. I'm not sure.
I feel like you should still be able to make the save while in the aura, but I think it makes perfect sense that it's only suppressed while you're in the aura. So, say, you run up next to the Paladin, and, through their aura of courage, they're exuding courage. They make, everyone feel more courageous by being in proximity. If for no other reason than, well, he's gonna take care of it. So that makes me feel better. But say the Paladin gets picked up and is all of a sudden 100 feet in the air, I'm gonna be scared again.
But that would be kind of cool. Just picture the scene, right? You're standing next to the Paladin. You're feeling all brave and confident. You're wailing damage on the dragon, the beholder, whatever it may be. But you get thunder waved back, right? You get Thunderwave back outside of the aura, and you watch as like the room grows darker as you exit the range of the Paladin, and you feel a little more hopeless. You feel like your courage draining. To me, that really puts a lot of power in the Paladin. I love the idea of flavoring that as a DM and wanting to pull people away from the Paladin and separate them, like stone walls around them so that people can't access the range. To me, that's sick. I think there's a lot of opportunity there for some cool anime moments,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this version of the Paladin, even more than before, definitely feels like the anime protagonist.
Yeah.
Who, they're the main character, or if not the main character, then like the mentor who is, mentoring the main character. One additional thing of note with the Aura of Courage, they specify that, so rather than keeping track of the radius of this aura separately from your Aura of Protection, it's just a feature that's added on to your Aura of Protection. So now, while creatures are within your Aura of Protection, they gain immunity to Frighten. So nice condensing of that. I don't think this ever really messed anyone up before, but it's
I don't
there.
think it did, but you know what? It's nice. I'm always down to simplify things, especially, you know what? Oh, sorry, guys. If we have something new going on, especially with all these changes right now, if nothing else, it's nice to have it just dumbed down just a little bit, because it's getting complex now. We're seeing revisions every week in all these different playtests. They're redoing things. They've already redone some of the cleric stuff. It gets complex. So just the idea they're removing some of the wording, to me, just feels better. But, we'll see where it goes later.
For sure. And then at 15th level, again, a new feature was not present before. Restoring Touch. When you use Lay on Hands on a creature, you can also remove one or more of the following conditions. Blinded, charmed, dazed, deafened, frightened, paralyzed, or stunned. Still no disease. You must expend 5 hit points from the healing pool for each of these conditions you remove, just like the previous version. I believe Paladins had something previously called Cleansing Touch, which did the same thing. So now they're wrapping it into the Lay on Hands. I don't have any issue with that. I think it makes sense. And it's weird that they had to keep track of yet another separate feature before. So condensing, I'm all for it.
Yeah, it's good. I think it's, I don't have any problems with it. It does kind of solidify to me the idea that we're definitely not putting disease in, because, I mean, if you're not getting at 15th level and you can end the stunned condition with 5 HP, they're probably not putting it in.
Yeah, probably not. And then at 17th level, which I believe it was at 18th in the player's handbook, you get your Aura expansion. So your Aura of Protection now extends 30 feet from you rather than 10, and you don't need to keep track of, does my Aura of Courage also? Yes, it does, but you need to keep track of that separately. So now it's condensed. Cool. And then finally, their capstone ability at 18th level is Divine Conduit. When you roll initiative, you would gain 1 use of this class's Channel Divinity. Now, this didn't exist in the player's handbook. For Paladins, they were a class where their subclass dictates their 20th level feature, which was cool. That's no longer the case. So now they get this. If anything, this is exactly like the Druid's Archdruid feature. They get back one of their channel natures. But with the Druid, they also get the special added benefit that they age much more slowly. I would kind of like just another flavorful thing to add on to this to make it feel like a valuable 18th level feature. If anything, maybe finally give them immunity to disease, or just something. Even the Oath of Devotion Paladin in the player's handbook had they're always under the effect of protection from good and evil at 15th level. That would be something cool to throw in here instead. I feel like getting the extra Channel Divinity doesn't do any huge benefit, in my opinion. I
don't think it's going to come up a whole lot, to be perfectly honest, as most capstones don't. You just don't get that high anyway. I will say it's better than, for example, I know there's a version of the Sorcerer, or maybe they're all Sorcerers at a very high level where they get 2 or 3 sorcery points when they roll initiative if they don't have any. I think it's better than that because, you're only getting 4 or 5 Channel Divinities overall, so 1 out of 4 or 5 is solid, but I don't know if you're necessarily using all of your Channel Divinities every time. I mean, you have a lot going on to use your actions for that are, your Divine Smiting, you might be casting spells, or you could be using your multi-attack. You're not going to use it a lot. It's cool. It's stronger. To your point, what I'd like to see for flavor at this point is, since you're a Paladin, maybe you can once a day, or, it doesn't have to be once a day. Maybe it's just a thing. Maybe you just passively hear the voice of your deity. maybe you once a day can ask him for some advice. It's very vague. Maybe you leave it up to the DM as like a subjective thing. I like the idea that it builds your connection with whoever you're fighting for. You're their champion at this point, right? I want to see a bigger connection, some sort of bond with this person you've been fighting for this whole time. To me, that would be kind of sick. Similar to like the not aging thing. It's not powerful by any means, but it'd be kind of sick.
I will say that was very validating when my Paladin finally heard from Lathander. So I think that's a big moment. If it's not something baked in like that, definitely whatever it is, I'm not asking for more mechanical weight. The Paladin seems pretty powerful as is in this version, but just some more flavor so that it's not so bland would be appreciated. And then at 20th level, we mentioned it in the Druids episode, but now in addition to the epic boon, you gain a ability score increase, and it can increase one of your ability scores. So it increases by 2, and it can go over 20. So if you've got, a manual that's already bumped it up to 22, you can still say, all right, well, I'm going to bump it again. Now it's a 24. So cool.
It's kind of like a super ASI, if you will, right? So you have the SASI, right? The sassy. Whatever you want to
I like
call
it.
It's because you get so normally you get a choice between a feat or your ability score increase, but you get both, and your feat is just supersized, right? You pay a little extra to get the extra large fry on this one. It feels good. I like it. The 20th level feels worth it now. I feel like that's a good reason to stick it out and not multi-class to me. But, I don't think they changed anything drastic. They recommend you take the, I think it was the True Sight boon with the Paladin, which I think is cool and all. But, it's fine.
Yeah, that makes sense that they would get that. I think... Well, so we'll quickly talk about the epic boon since we didn't in the Druids episode. So there's the epic boon of Fate, which you increase your int, wisdom, or charisma by 1, and then whenever another creature within 60 feet of you fails a d20 test, you can roll 2d4 and apply the total to the roll as a bonus or penalty. Well, that's weird. Whenever they fail, you can make it a penalty. Why would I want that? I'm sure that needs to be reworded. But in any case, you can add or subtract 2d4 from the roll, and you can benefit no more than once per turn. You have 8 total uses, and whenever you finish a long rest, you regain 2d4 total uses. That's really powerful and really cool. I like it. That's probably the best one here. The next is the epic boon of spell recall, which seems nuts.
I love this epic boon.
Whenever, so again, wisdom, intelligence, or charisma. Interestingly, the Paladin doesn't get access to something that can boost their strength or dexterity or constitution if they want it, which, because they're limited to the priest group. So, okay, fine, whatever. I would like for there to be a stipulation that the Paladin can get the warrior ones too if they want, because really a Paladin is a warrior class. I don't care what you say. So anyway, spell recall. So whenever you cast a spell with a 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th level spell slot, roll a d4. If the number you roll equals the slot's level, the slot isn't expended. That's a 1 in 4 chance every time. As a Paladin, you've only got up to 5th level spells at 20th level. That's almost all of your spells has a 1 in 4 chance of just coming back to you every time you cast.
So strong. Just think about all the stuff you could do with that, right? Any fireball that you cast, there's a chance that you just didn't expend that spell slot. A fireball, right? One of the notoriously stronger spells in D&D, the staple, right? Also, because it goes down to 1, things like shield, that's just, you could just get your shield back, so you get that +5 to your AC for your whole turn, still get it back. Counter spell, you just don't expend a spell. Like, it gets strong, guys. This is now I understand completely that it's 25% chance, right? But 25% chance if you're a spellcaster, that's all the time. You're casting all the time.
Now I will play devil's advocate here. I think that this feature has the potential to be super broken or super weak, just depending on how the dice feel that day. I almost want to take out the D4 of it and just say you can cast 1 free 1st through 4th level spell slot per day. I feel like that would sort of take the randomness out of it and make this feel less broken. Because in my opinion, like if you get on a rolling streak and you've cast your 5th greater invisibility of the day. At some point, someone's gonna say enough.
That's reasonable. I will give it to you. It can be very strong. To your point, it can also be very weak. I think I like the gamble. I don't know. I think I really do, and especially since you're not getting this. It's an epic boon. So you're not getting this till 20th level.
Yeah, exactly. There's one session that you're going to get to use this anyway. So to my point, I feel like because it's an epic boon at 20th level, no one really plays at 20th level past 1 or 2 sessions. I feel like you want to get the value out of it, and what would suck more than for this to never proc and for you to feel like you wasted your boon?
Maybe it depends on who you pick. Because as a wizard, I think it's much stronger. As a paladin, I wouldn't take this one. But in the same sense, taking this, I feel like an ultimate mage. Like at this point, I would want, spell sniper. I would want warcaster, and I want this, right? Like that's part of like the trio, the quad that I would want of feats. Being an all-powerful caster. Like that is, to me, this is part of the kit. Like I feel like I would have to have this. If I'm any sort of full caster, I'm taking this epic boon. I have to, even if it's just for the memes of rolling and getting excited about this D4, right? I have to have this one.
I can agree with that. And so both of these feats we just talked about are specific to the mage or priest group. But then this last one, Epic Boon of True Sight, is specific for the priest group. So only paladins, druids, and clerics can get it. Nothing super special. You get True Sight out to 60 feet. So no That's longer cool. impacted by anything invisible. You can see through darkness and anything that could possibly impede your vision. You're no longer impeded. Super cool. But at the same time, I don't know. It just doesn't feel as special as spell recall or fate, I feel like.
You're not getting as much oomph, but in the same sense, you get to use it all the time. And it's a little dependent on your setting. Like in Avernus, this would be extremely handy, and I might take it, to be honest, if I had that option. But, maybe for the material plane, you're not seeing a lot of illusionary magic, and, you're just fighting, bandits and stuff. Maybe that's not the way to go.
Yeah, at 20th level, though, those better be some fucking tough bandits.
Roided out bandits. Let's go. I actually love the idea of just this super high fighter bandit. That's actually a good idea. I like that.
Yeah, the pirate king. The king of pirate kings.
The pirate president.
There you go.
Let's do it.
All right, this episode has gone on for well over an hour, so let's get quickly through the Oath of Devotion.
Let's do it.
So, at 3rd level, you get your oath spells. The notable thing about this, so just like in the player's handbook, you always have these spells prepared from your, depending on what oath you take, but you also get free casting. You can cast one of your prepared spells from your oath spells without expending a spell slot, and you must finish a long rest before you can use this benefit again. Super cool. It obviously gets more powerful as you level up, so at 1st level, that's one free 1st level spell that you can cast. At 2nd level, this is one free 2nd level spell that you can cast, basically. Once you get up to 9th level and you can cast 3rd level slots, a free 3rd level spell, free 4th level spell, 5th level spell. That is awesome that the paladins get that. I wish it were cumulative, so I don't have to choose if I really want to use it on a Shield of Faith. But really, you're going to use it on your most powerful spell. So I think it's good to have it there. And it also encourages the paladin to finally cast some fucking spells.
Yes.
Because really, all the paladin ever uses their slots for is their divine smite. So having a built-in, an extra slot to use on your spells and nothing but your spells is nice to see.
No, agreed. I agree with you completely. I don't disagree with you. I am very passionate about this free casting ability. I love the idea that it gives you more options, especially as a paladin. But I'm not even gonna stick to the paladin there. I'm gonna say anything having free casting. I love the idea of it. If you're a storm domain sorcerer, it's not called domain. I think it's like an order or something like that. But the
bloodline,
sure, we'll go
origin,
or we'll go with that origin.
Your sorceress origin is what it's called.
Whatever your flavor is for whatever class you have, if you're a spellcaster, I love the idea that you get one of your flavorfully built-in spells to cast for free, no charge. You don't have to take it, right? It's given to you, and you could just do it. To me, that feels great. That feels like it frees up a bunch of my action economy there. I feel like my resources are freed. I just feel great. Like, it sounds so silly for such a low, like it's a level 3 ability, but I love this ability. It makes me very happy to think about. So I won't say anything else about it. I will keep my passion to myself, but I love this. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, so I'll be completely honest. I didn't look at the oath spells that the Oath of Devotion got before, so I'm not sure if they updated any of them, but they look more or less right. They've got Zone of Truth in there. They've got Flame Strike. I believe those were all present. Jesus Christ.
President.
Now you got me saying president.
I love this.
Jesus Christ, the president.
President Jesus. President JC. I love that.
You rang. Hello, my children.
You rang. I have to watch that series. I haven't. Oh man, I gotta get on that.
What series?
The You Rang is from I think it's the Brady Bunch, if I'm not mistaken.
No, is it?
Yeah, and You Rang is the what's his name? It's the guy. His name starts with an L, but it's been brought up recently. And people have been saying it because Wednesday came out, and Wednesday is like the spin-off version of the daughter of the Brady Bunch. Or not the, what is it? Not the Brady.
The Addams Family.
Addams Family. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I was like, the Brady Bunch, really?
God, I feel hatred for myself. Turn off the podcast now, guys.
We're keeping all that in. Anyway, so at 3rd level, you get your Sacred Weapon, which you'll notice previously Paladins used to get 2 different Channel Divinity options from their subclass. Now they only get 1, it seems like. So you'll recognize why in a second. So they keep their Sacred Weapon, but the second feature that the Paladin got for their Channel Divinity was, I believe it was Abjure the Unworthy or something. And it was just like their...
the Abjure Foes ability.
Their Abjure Foes ability
Gotcha.
that they now get at 9th level. So rather than having the Paladin get that at 3rd level and having it be subclass specific, now all Paladins get it at 9th level, and it's the same power for everyone. So a lot of Paladins had some really interesting Channel Divinities. I'm interested to see which ones they'll keep for the other subclasses, because that advantage on all attacks versus one foe from the Vengeance Paladin is very tough. So we'll see if it sticks around. But in any case, interesting how they choose to do this. I have no problems with it. So anyway, Sacred Weapon, now as a bonus action, which it was previously an action, you can expend 1 use of your Channel Divinity to imbue a simple or martial weapon that you're holding with positive energy. For 1 minute, you add your Charisma modifier to attack rolls you make with this weapon. And each time you hit with it, you cause it to deal its normal damage type or radiant damage, which is new. It also sheds Bright Light out to 20 feet, though... you can end this effect as a bonus action, and it also ends if you aren't holding or carrying the weapon, or you have the incapacitated condition. I believe in the previous version, you didn't have to be holding it for it to shed this light, or I definitely used it wrong in that case if it if it was specified, but not a huge issue. I like that it has to be connected to you in order to bestow this benefit. And overall, this was an awesome feature before. If you're a 20 Charisma Paladin and you get a +5 on all your attack rolls, disgusting. I love it. But then, in addition, now it's a bonus action. So you can actually use this in the middle of combat, which is incredible.
That's a solid use of your Channel Divinity right there. This, to me, this makes me want to play Paladin right there. Oh, goodness. So sorry, guys, I had to sneeze. This ability is just good. I don't have any critiques on it. I love it. Like you said, it's similar to what they had before, but just a little better. It's just good. I have nothing to say to this ability beyond the fact that I kind of want to play a Paladin and go absolutely ham with a 20 Charisma and just beat up anybody. Oh, no, I lie. I have one flavorful thought. I always have flavorful thoughts. The divine, you can make it radiant damage, right? I love the idea, because at our table, we often flavor elements and different types of damage. I love the idea that you are a champion of some sort of fire god or like an ancient elemental of some sort, and instead of radiant damage, you do fire damage or cold damage or something. That is so sick, being like an ice fighter. That's solid. I love that.
That would be super cool. I will say, just the ability to swap your normal damage type to Radiant is super powerful too, especially if your DM is stingy with the magic items, because Radiant damage gets past most creatures that will have resistance to whatever type. So really, out of the box, you're batting a high average with Oath of Devotion. Just you're hitting more often, and you're dealing full damage each time you hit. So
necrotic damage for a conquest paladin on a dark horse.
Yeah. Well, I forget what their other channel divinity is, but I would love to see that too.
I don't care. I want this one. This one's better. I want this one more.
Anyway, 6th level, new feature, Smite of Protection. So previously, the 7th level feature for the Paladin was an aura. Now that's been pushed back to 10th level. I feel like that's probably going to stick for the other Paladins that also get auras, but we'll see. So at 6th level, you have your Smite of Protection. Your Divine Smite now radiates protective energy that allows you and your allies to stay in the fight. Whenever you use your Divine Smite, choose yourself or an ally within 30 feet of yourself. The chosen creature gains temporary hit points equal to 1d8 plus the level of the spell used for the Divine Smite. That's awesome. It really just enhances the idea of your aura of protection a little bit. The Paladin is there and they're attacking, but at the same time they're a holy defender. So especially in Oath of Devotion, you're swearing your oath to protect the good in the world. Mm-hmm. So it makes perfect thematic sense. The thing that this is replacing is that one feature at 15th level that lets you always have protection from evil and good on yourself.
Oh.
So I will say I'll miss that a little bit, but overall, I think that this is a better feature to include at 6th level. It spreads out the auras that you're getting, too, because prior you'd get your aura of protection at 6th level, and then at 7th level you get your, whatever the aura was, aura of devotion. I think you're immune to charm and frighten.
Yeah, that's what you get. That was pretty good.
Yeah, so in any case, now at 10th level, moving on to the next feature, you get your aura of devotion. You and your allies are immune to the charm condition. That's cool. I've definitely seen a lot of cases where this would have been handy, but I never think to play a Oath of Devotion Paladin just for this, because it's very situational.
I do like this there all the time, though, because I don't think your aura ever goes down as a Paladin, unless I'm mistaken.
Unless you're incapacitated, but yeah.
But I just love the idea that you just have it all even just for yourself, not even including, I know I just said I'm this big support character, but now I'm going to be selfish. Just the idea that you walk around all the time and just you alone are immune to these conditions. That's good. That's great.
I mean, that's awesome. And I love that the Paladin is of, as stable a mind as possible, that, they can't be dominated and they can't be, or, at least the Oath of Devotion, you cannot be swayed in any particular direction because you're just that faithful in your belief.
I love the idea that you have, your faith literally it becomes so strong that it materializes. And you can see it, as you ward off these effects, you can almost see this misty, radiant mist that just forces the spells away from you. That's sick. I like that a lot. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you can tell when the Paladins, someone's trying to charm them.
Oh, there's a mist. That's actually pretty funny. I like that. But on to 14th level, Zach. Do you want to take us with Holy Nimbus?
I'd love to. So this is the feature that the Oath of Devotion Paladin used to get at 20th level. Now they get it at 14th. It's slightly less powerful, but definitely you're getting it so much earlier. I appreciate its presence here and have no complaints about that. So as a bonus action, you can imbue your aura of protection with holy power. The aura gains the following benefits for 1 minute or until you end it as a bonus action. Whenever an enemy starts its turn in the aura, the creature takes radiant damage equal to your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier. That's a lot. And that's just automatic. There's no save, no nothing. By being next to you, the creature is taking this damage. And then the aura is also filled with bright light. That is sunlight. So in addition, this is just the vampire melting feature, really. So the vampire is going to be taking their, 10 or 20 points of radiant damage just by being in the sunlight. And then in addition, they take at 14th level, it'll be maybe 10 points of radiant damage, and then even more depending on your charisma and proficiency bonus as that increases. So super powerful against vampires. I'll say against other creatures, it's nice to still have that passive damage. And I think that as a 14th level feature, this feels right at home. At 20th level,
Agreed.
The Holy Nimbus, I'm forgetting the extra features that it had, but it was very minor, and it didn't feel powerful enough for a 20th level. character. So I think that this is perfect right where it's at. And I'm super happy to see it actually be able to be used because I've never seen a Paladin use it at 20th level.
Now that I look at it, which I agree with you, it's a strong ability. I like that they moved it up, but nerfed it a little bit. It feels very Paladin-y. It makes me want to play a Paladin, which is checking all the boxes. I do notice that unless I'm missing it, they removed the flight ability that it used to give you. I'm pretty sure it gave you a flight ability, unless I'm confusing it with the Aasimar ability.
That I think you might be right that it granted you the ability to fly, but because you have your faithful steed now that you can cast for free. Well, I guess at second level you can cast it for free, so you got to expend a 4th level slot, but it'll fly. It'll fly for you. So
yeah, I mean, it's cool. I like it. I have no complaints about it. It's strong. It's flavorful. I'm all in. At 10th level, you become immune to charm, and at 14th level, you're immune to vampires. That's pretty much how it comes down to. It's good. I like it.
Absolutely, and that's it for the Paladin. We've discussed the epic boons. Just we're running way over time, but I will just mention they did update all of the smite spells, and the one that I'm the most excited about is Glimmering Smite, which is replacing Branding Smite. It's still a 2nd level spell, but rather than just dealing the 2d6 radiant damage when you hit with it, or keeping a creature from becoming invisible or revealing them if they are invisible. Now, in addition to that, it's concentration up to 1 minute, and until the spell ends, the target sheds bright light in a 5-foot radius, and attack rolls against it have advantage. So it's like a guiding bolt that just stays there until you drop your concentration. I think that makes it a lot more useful, and it serves a similar function to Fairy Fire, but there's not a save, so all you have to do is hit them to get this to stay there. Definitely one of the only smite spells that I'll see myself using. I think the other ones are still poopy garbage. I'm looking at you, Searing Smite. How can they expect me to use this over just a Divine Smite? I'll never know. But it's nice that they're there. Banishing Smite, I'll say, might need a nerf, or it might need a buff. I'm not sure. The way it functions here, and I forget how it works in the player's handbook, so forgive me if I'm just talking about shit that already exists, but it's a non-concentration spell. You hit the target, they take an extra 5d10 force damage and must succeed on a charisma saving throw or be transported to a harmless demiplane for the duration. While in the demiplane, the target is incapacitated, and at the end of each of its turns, it can repeat the save, ending the spell on a success. But if it lasts for the full minute and they fail all their saves, then they're shunted to the different plane like the banishment spell. Why I say this is so powerful is it doesn't require concentration. So you just do this and they're out for as long as they keep failing.
Oh, you're right. Oh, wow. I was under the impression this was a concentration. That is very strong. Now, to the same point, it still has the same sort of effect and feel of the nerfed version of Banishment that they came out with fairly a couple months ago, I want to say, where they do have to keep making those saves every turn, which the current version of Banishment, you do not make those saves every turn. You make one save, and then until I choose to let you out, you're stuck in there, which is very strong. So I'm not sure if it worked the same exact way or not. It's still pretty strong, though. I do like it. I got to be honest, all the smites are just better. With the new rework where you don't have to use your bonus action to set it up preemptively, you can, just like a Divine Smite, you can hit and then burn your bonus action to use the smite. They all are just infinitely better from that. You get guaranteed damage, and there's no reason, unless it's just poopy garbage, right? You'd rather use your Divine Smite. There's much more reason to use it now. So I'm glad they made that change. I think that was for the best, and I want to play Paladin to smite things, so I'm going to have to start looking at these spells a little closer. Yeah,
the one thing about Banishing Smite that might keep you from taking it is Paladins, now all Paladins have access to Banishment, because it's on the Divine Spell list, so Paladins can just do that.
Which that's strong, but I like it, though, because I feel like if anyone's got to banish someone, it should be a Holy Knight.
Yeah, I mean, mine could. My Sorcerer, Divine Soul Sorcerer multiclass could, so.
Oh, that's true. Well, he was very divine. He was extra divine.
Yeah.
Do we have anything crazy cool about Paladins? I think we've covered all the epic boon stuff. We covered all of their cool abilities, their subclass. I think that might be just about it. Zach, did you have any final thoughts about the Paladins here? Unless I missed something.
I am so glad that they shot this out and that I don't have to worry about it anymore. Ever since they put them in the priest group, I was worried. I'll say I'm still not 100% satisfied with the clericiness of the Paladin. And I'll echo the sentiments. I feel like there's a better way to incorporate the fine steed that doesn't make it feel mandatory. But at the same time, I'm very happy with the power level of the Paladin as it is here. But just please let me smite and cast a spell on the same turn. Make that one simple change, and all the other shit that we just talked about, it doesn't matter. That's really what I need to feel confident about this Paladin. But otherwise, a lot of good changes. And I'm excited to see this version more or less appear in the next version of the player's handbook. And I'll let you know, this is the first class that I'm going to be playing. Absolutely. I need to play this new Paladin. And if we ever get around to playtesting some of this shit, I would love to try this out just as written.
Agreed. I agree with everything you said for the most part. I want them to be able to smite more than one time. I like the power level of them now. I didn't have a problem with the power level before, so I think it's perfectly fine. The flavor that they got from a lot of their abilities and the reworks, to me, is worth the changes. I like that they feel much more like the class that they're designed to be. They're playing their role perfectly. I think right now, I hope they don't change it too much, to be perfectly honest. I like the ranged options cool. You have more resources like the free casting. Overall, my main takeaway is that I am not a Paladin person. I never have been. But after this, I do feel myself gravitating towards them more. Which, I mean, if an update comes out and it makes me want to play the class more, I think that's kind of a win. I think that's about as good as you can get. So, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for listening to a TableTalk Friday, a D&D podcast. Feel free to check us out on Patreon at TableTalk Friday. And where you're going to get some cool stuff. You're going to get some bonus content like this post show we're about to record. It's going to be solid. You can also get early access to our videos about a week ahead of time. Recently just made a post where all of our stuff will be fairly consistent at 12 a.m. release dates, which is going to be good. Of course, I made the post and then immediately goofed it up with some technical difficulties. But we're going to be back on track, guys. Don't you worry. You're going to get some quality content exactly when you want it. And with all of that, can I have the Paladin President take us out?
My fellow clerics, I stand before you today, and I don't have much to say other than I hope you enjoyed the show, and by the light of Lathander, all of you have a good night. Well, maybe not by the light of Lathander. Might make it hard for you to sleep. We'll say we'll say by the moonlight. Well, by the dark given by the shadow granted by the light of Lathander. Have a good night.